Hello everyone, welcome back to the Atelier. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the newest addition to my jewelry box collection and a few other collectibles. So if you have been following my channel, you will know that I love antiques and I have always been attracted to jewelry boxes because if you look at the furthest end of the cabinet and you see the black jewelry chest that belonged to my mom. So growing up as a child, it's always been at the back of my mind, and I've always looked at it and admired the beauty of it. And it's sort of, I think subconsciously you sort of get drawn to it. So a lot of the times over the decades, whenever I come across a very interesting or beautiful piece of jewelry box or jewelry chest, I always add it to my collection, and then over the years the collection has grown. So the latest one that I have, I think this is a full circle moment for me because the very first jewelry box, a vintage one that I collected, as I mentioned in my previous video, I went with my flatmate when I was studying in Perth, Australia, and they brought me to a flea market, and I couldn't understand why would anyone purchase something that has already been used by someone else. I found it quite off-putting actually, but because I never go back home empty-handed, I came back home with the rosewood jewelry box. So that started it, and then over the years I've collected other pieces. So the latest one that I have is the one in the middle, this one here, which is a Chinese cabinet or chest. And this is really a full circle moment for me because I've always been looking out for a Chinese chest because subconsciously, I think because of my mom's jewelry chest, I have collected other pieces that are Korean or Japanese, but not necessarily a Chinese one. And I firmly believe that the Korean and the Japanese jewelry chests and jewelry boxes actually evolved from the Chinese one. Even though they do not want to admit it, these three cultures are very, very closely interlinked. If you look back historically and aesthetically, they sort of have some sort of a similar underlying aesthetics to it. So unlike my mother, who is drawn more towards the ebony jewelry chest, and she has one jewelry box as well, I am drawn more towards the red color. I find it very, very especially the rosewood one really speaks out to me. So the latest one that I have been looking out for it for many years, and always it's either the price point or because of the fact that it is quite generic. I didn't want those mass-produced jewelry chests with the, you know, the double panel of faux jade in front, or the ones just with the brass fittings on it. So finally this year I decided to get this one right in the middle, and I like the size because it's very mini and petite. So I'm thinking that perhaps they were using it sort of like a traveling jewelry chest instead of on display in the home, because it's much more smaller, as you can see, than the other one that is here. This one is so much more larger. This one is also Korean, and I added this to my collection last year. And if you have missed that video, do check that out. It's very interesting because I featured all of my Oriental jewelry boxes. I have not got around to doing the ones that are Western or other. So this one I was very happy to get because it features some kind of a jade or soapstone motifs in front, which is the butterfly as well as the coral flowers on it. And if you look at it, it's made up of rosewood, but actually when you look at it more closely, it really resembles cherry wood as well. So I'm not a wood expert. I would think that it's either made up of rosewood or cherry wood, and on top of it, it has got the brass handle on top. So I'm imagining that it's truly been used sort of like a traveling jewelry chest when they go traveling in the old days. So I always imagine who the person who owned it was and what sort of a person they were and how did they look like and what sort of jewelry they put in there. It's always so intriguing to me. One more thing that I always forgot to mention in my jewelry box video is that they have used the motif of the fish as a lock and as a handle. And for the Chinese, they always made use of the fish motif because they are saying that the fish never sleeps. Even when it's sleeping, its eyes are open. So that is exactly why they're using that motif as a door handle or as a lock on the jewelry box, so that it can keep guard safely all their special possessions that they store in the jewelry box or the jewelry chest. So isn't that a very, very interesting tidbit? I always forgot to share this tidbit with you, so I find it's very, very intriguing, all these little stories behind it and why they use it in a jewelry box or a jewelry chest. I've also added 3 other things to my collection. So I also got a plate which is almost looking like a Vermeer rose, and the seller told me that it's from the 19th century. I'm thinking it's more towards the late 19th century and not towards the early 19th century, and I'm thinking it is a reproduction of the Vermeer rose family. This one is much more richer in color. It has much more red in color, but the aesthetics of it is still the same. You have the melons and all the sort of like peonies resembling abundance. As I mentioned, the Chinese like to have all sorts of lucky sort of objects in their decor so that it brings them good luck. And the peony is supposed to represent social status. The melon is supposed to represent abundance of health and family life. And why I got this as well is because of the pair of pheasants in the plates. I'm not so sure if it's meant to be a pheasant or a phoenix, and because I was born in the year of the rooster, I always try to get something with a phoenix in it. And I've also added 2 more porcelain cats to my collection. You have this sleeping Kutani cat here, and on the other side is sort of like a 1950s kitschy kind of a cat, resembling something like what my mom used to have, but she gave it away. So the Kutani sleeping cat, I've always wanted it ever since the COVID period, and the Japanese is very well known for making this. So I'm very happy to get this. It is very mini in design, and then it features some butterflies and some flowers on it. The motifs are very, very sparse and not too overcrowded, because a lot of the Kutani cat porcelain figurines are very, very packed with motifs and paintings on it. So I hope that you've enjoyed looking through them as much as I have sharing it with you. And thank you so much for joining me today. Please do check out my other videos, which I'll be linking towards the end, and I'll see you again in my next video. Goodbye.